So you finally said it. The line they told you never to cross. The truth they tried to bury under layers of silence and fear. You said it out loud. And in that instant, the air changed. Every whisper stopped. Every mask froze mid-smile. Even the walls listened. You weren't supposed to do that, were you? You weren't supposed to speak with that tone, the one that cuts through performance and hits nerve. You weren't supposed to expose the script everyone agreed to pretend was reality. You weren't supposed to remember who you were before they taught you obedience, but you did. And now, the room feels colder because truth always drops the temperature. You felt it too, didn't you? That shift, that magnetic pulse that rippled through everyone's chest. That was power leaving their control and returning to yours. You didn't ask for permission. You detonated it. That's why they flinched, why eyes darted to the floor, why the brave ones swallowed hard before saying, "That was deep." Deep number. It was dangerous. It was real. It was the kind of sentence that burns the paper it's written on. They built entire systems to keep people from saying what you just said. Whole cultures of silence, whole hierarchies of fear. They conditioned politeness into paralysis. They wrapped truth in layers of professionalism and timing, just to keep the real ones from slipping through the cracks. But you slipped anyway, didn't you? You bled honesty where everyone else paints lies. You cracked open the door, and now every suppressed thought in that room is clawing for daylight. You want to know why they looked at you like that? Because your words didn't fit the atmosphere. You dragged lightning into a church of candles. You spoke fire into a world addicted to fog. You made people feel something they couldn't sanitize, and now they can't unhear it. They'll replay it in their heads tonight. The way you said it, the way your voice didn't shake, the way it felt like you were saying what their soul had been screaming for years. They'll call you bold. They'll call you unhinged. They'll call you too much, but they won't call you wrong, because deep down, they know that moment was a mirror. And what you said didn't just expose them, it exposed you. You tore your own mask off in public and smiled through the blood. That's why it hit so hard. You didn't deliver a speech. You confessed a truth that made their hearts skip a beat. You didn't just speak. You triggered every sleeping rebel in earshot. You reawakened something sacred and sinister all at once. The saint in you spoke with the venom of the sinner. The angel in you sharpened its halo into a blade. And that's what they fear, that paradox. You didn't choose light or dark. You became the intersection. You became both. Now they'll pretend they're fine. They'll scroll. They'll move on. But they're subconscious. It's pacing. It's replaying your words on loop, like a glitch in the system, because what you said wasn't supposed to happen here. Not in this timeline. Not in this obedient little simulation they call society. You were supposed to stay quiet, nod politely, and die of emotional suffocation. Instead, you coughed up truth like poison and smiled through the aftertaste. Let's be honest, you scared them, not because you're loud, but because you're clear, because your voice didn't tremble like theirs. Because you didn't decorate your truth with apologies or disclaimers. You just dropped it like a guillotine. And when the blade hit, they realized you weren't trying to win. You were trying to free. Now look around. The air feels thinner, doesn't it? You cracked open something collective, a silence older than you. You spoke what entire generations swallowed. You shifted the current. And now, everyone's acting normal because that's what humans do when they witness revolution. They pretend it didn't happen. But deep down, they're infected. You are the contagion now. the virus of awareness, the glitch in their programming. And that's the part they can't fix. Because no one can unhear a revelation. No one can unknow the moment they saw truth stand up in a crowded lie. That's what you did. You stood up in a world of bent spines. And in doing so, you became unpredictable, dangerous, untouchable. They'll whisper your name now, but not in admiration. In analysis, they'll ask what possessed them to say that. And the answer, my friend, is simple. Freedom. The kind that doesn't need permission, validation, or applause. The kind that burns politely built prisons to the ground. So yeah, you weren't supposed to say that. But goddamn, you did. And every cell in the system felt the tremor. You cracked reality just enough for the light to slip through. And that's all it takes. One truth, set at the right frequency, can make empires tremble. And tonight, while they're pretending nothing happened, you'll smile. Because you'll know. You'll know that silence is over. And every echo they hear from now on sounds a little like you. And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. You didn't just speak. You shifted timelines. You dropped a sentence that tore through their psychological armor like a bullet made of honesty. And the funny thing is, you didn't even raise your voice. You just said it, calm, precise, surgical. And yet, it landed like thunder in a cathedral built for whispers. You know that feeling? Right after you say something forbidden. That pause, where time holds its breath, and everyone looks around to see who else noticed. That's the sound of control dying. That's the sound of the collective realizing. Someone broke the spell. You did. You broke it clean. No ceremony, no warning, no mercy. Just truth. You became a living glitch in their ritual, because for years they've rehearsed obedience like theater, fake smiles, safe opinions, edited emotions, and then you, with your haunted calm and unapologetic clarity, walked in and spoke a sentence that didn't match the script. You didn't read their lines, you rewrote them, and now every one of them has to pretend they're not unraveling. They'll talk about your tone. They'll say you were too intense or not professional or should have phrased it differently. They'll nitpick the delivery because they can't handle the message. That's how the fragile hide from truth. They critique the thunder instead of facing the storm. But deep down, they know what happened. They felt the shift in their bones. Because words like that don't come from the mouth. They come from the abyss. From the parts of you they tried to bury alive. You didn't speak from the tongue, you spoke from the wound. And that's why it hit with the precision of prophecy. You think angels speak in light? Number. Sometimes angels use blood. Sometimes divinity sounds like defiance. Sometimes grace looks like madness wearing a grin. And you embodied all of it. The calm of a saint, the glare of a demon, the poise of someone who's already walked through hell and came back fluent in silence. That's why they couldn't move. Because when you spoke, you didn't ask for power. You embodied it. There's a difference between people who talk and people who transmit. You didn't make noise. You shifted frequencies. You tuned into something primal, a forgotten truth frequency that doesn't need validation. It's the tone of those who've suffered long enough to stop fearing consequence. And you know what's terrifying about that? You can't be controlled anymore. You crossed the invisible line, the one that separates the obedient from the awakened. You stopped trying to be understood. You stopped trying to sound palatable. You traded approval for authenticity, and that's a currency they can't tax. Now they're nervous, because when someone speaks truth like that once, It's never just once. It becomes a contagion. Others start whispering their own forbidden thoughts. One by one, quiet voices rise, and the whole illusion starts to shake. That's the nightmare. Not that you said something wrong, but that your courage worked. That your raw honesty might spread. That silence might finally lose its grip. And they'll try to punish you for it. They'll isolate you, gaslight you, call you arrogant, unhinged, dangerous, because they think shame is a leash strong enough to pull a truth-teller back into submission. But you've seen too much now, haven't you? You've tasted what it's like to speak without a filter, to breathe without pretending. Once you've done that, silence feels like suffocation. Lies feel like poison. You didn't just open your mouth. You opened a portal, a crack between dimensions, the one where they hide their fear and call it logic. And from that moment on, they could sense it. You don't belong to their hierarchy anymore. You don't bend. You don't plead. You don't crave belonging because you've met something holier than acceptance. Truth. They hate that calm that came after. The calm of someone who's seen their own darkness and made peace with it. You wear it like armor, not flashy, not loud, but terrifyingly still. Because what's scarier than someone who no longer needs to be liked? Someone who's fluent in silence yet chooses to speak only when it matters. And it mattered. Because that one moment, that one sentence, it wasn't rebellion for show. It was resurrection. Every time you swallowed your truth, a piece of you died quietly. But when you finally said it, those fragments came back to life. You felt your lungs expand like it was the first breath after drowning. And everyone around you could feel it too. They could feel your rebirth. And it threatened every lie they'd ever built comfort around. Now you walk different. You look different. You feel different. You became living proof that freedom isn't earned. It's taken. And once taken, it cannot be returned. So don't shrink now. Don't apologize for setting fire to their illusions. Don't let guilt disguise itself as humility. You didn't overreact. You realigned. You brought the frequency back to truth. And when the world feels unstable, that's not chaos. That's correction. Because every great collapse starts with one brave sentence. And yours. It echoed through rooms, through minds, through timelines. You said the one thing everyone was too scared to say. And that made you dangerous in all the right ways. You didn't just speak, you shifted reality. And when history replays this moment, they'll realize that was the second everything started to break open. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. They'll pretend they've moved on, but you can feel it. That faint tremor in the air when you walk into a room. That cautious silence before someone dares to speak again. It's not respect, and it's not fear. It's the quiet awareness that something irreversible has happened. You tore the veil, and once the veil is gone, the actors can't act the same. They still move their mouths, still follow the script, but the illusion's cracked, hasn't it? You see the wires. You see the panic behind their rehearsed smiles. And they know you see it. You spoke once and the world started listening differently. Even the ones who hated it, especially the ones who hated it. Because hate is just fascination that doesn't know how to confess itself. They replay your words in secret, dissect them in private, try to find where the power came from. But there's no formula for authenticity. You can't replicate something born out of pain. That's the thing they'll never understand. You didn't say it to win. You said it to breathe. It wasn't rebellion. It was survival. You weren't trying to be brave. You were trying not to drown. And when truth came up your throat like salt water, you let it spill. That's why it hit. Because it wasn't rehearsed. It was real. And real scares people more than violence ever could. They'll tolerate anger, they'll tolerate chaos, but they won't tolerate clarity. Because clarity means no more excuses, no more hiding behind systems, no more pretending they didn't know better. Clarity makes everyone accountable. And you handed them a mirror they didn't ask for. You didn't mean to hold that mirror, did you? You were just done lying to yourself. But when you held it up, they saw every shadow they've been running from. And now they flinch at the sight of you, because you remind them what they buried. The saint in you whispered the truth. The demon in you refused to edit it. That combination is lethal, because mercy without fear is ignored and fear without truth is wasted. But you carried both, calm and chaos, grace and grime. And that's why it worked. You didn't just say something dangerous, you said it beautifully. You dressed fire in poetry, and people always mistake that for madness until it burns them awake. And maybe it was madness, the holy kind, the kind that breaks spells and births revolutions, because sanity in a broken world is just another disguise. And you took yours off. You chose honesty over belonging, authenticity over applause. That's what made it art. That's what made it immortal. Now look at you, walking through the ruins of their comfort zones like it's a battlefield. You didn't destroy them. You revealed them. You stripped away their camouflage and left their fear standing naked. You did what prophets do. You spoke before the world was ready to listen. And here's the secret no one tells you. Prophets are always punished before they're praised. They'll call you arrogant, dramatic, delusional, because it's easier than admitting you were right. That's how society cleanses guilt. They crucify the messenger, then worship the echo. But don't you dare shrink now. Don't you dare silence yourself to make the world comfortable again. You already saw what your words can do, how they move through the cracks like smoke, how they linger long after the crowd goes home. That's not coincidence. That's power acknowledging itself. You think this was just a moment? Number. This was an awakening, the sound of you becoming impossible to forget. They'll imitate you now, not because they understand, but because they can't ignore. They'll start talking like you, dressing like you, thinking they can borrow your gravity without earning your pain. Let them try. They'll learn the hard way that authenticity isn't a costume, it's a scar. You've already paid your price in silence, in exile. In nights, you stayed awake, wondering if maybe you should have kept your mouth shut. But that's how truth tests its messengers. With loneliness first, with legacy later. Because this isn't about being liked. This is about being undeniable. And you are. They can twist your words, delete your videos, burn your name from their narratives. But they can't unfeel what you made them feel. That's the curse and the crown of those who speak before the world is ready. Their words live longer than their names, so let them call it chaos. Let them say you broke something, because you did. You broke their obedience. You broke their performance. You broke the myth that silence equals peace. You were never supposed to say it, but you did. And now the world has to rearrange itself around the echo. That's how revolutions start. Not with explosions, not with banners, but with one person who finally says the thing everyone else was too afraid to admit. One voice brave enough to tear the hush wide open. You are that voice. The hush is gone, and now every time someone else dares to speak truth, whether they know it or not, they'll be speaking in your frequency. And deep down, you already knew this ending wasn't going to be soft. You can feel it now. That electric quiet that follows a storm. The kind of stillness that means something permanent has changed. You cross the threshold, and there's no walking back through it. Once you've said the unsayable, the world never sounds the same again. They'll wait for you to apologize. They'll wait for the clarification, for the retraction, for the softer version that makes them feel safe again. But you won't give it to them. You can't. Because to take it back would be to kill the part of you that finally learned how to breathe. You didn't say those words to start a war. You said them because pretending peace while choking on silence is its own kind of death. Now you stand where very few ever stand, in that lonely space between what you were and what you're becoming. It's not glory, it's clarity. It's the ache that comes when every illusion burns off and only truth remains. And it hurts, doesn't it? To see everything so clearly, to feel everything so sharply. But that's the price of sight. That's the cost of freedom. Look around. You see them trying to rebuild the lie, painting over the cracks you left. Let them. Paint can't fix foundations. Let them decorate the ruins. You know the structure already collapsed the moment your words left your mouth. And someday, maybe not today, maybe not for years, they'll understand. They'll realize you weren't reckless, you were real. That your defiance wasn't ego. It was evolution. That what they called chaos was just honesty, stripped of its filters. They'll quote you without realizing they once cursed you. They'll teach what they tried to erase. That's how truth works. It doesn't need to win arguments. It just needs to survive time. So breathe. You did what you came here to do. You turned silence into a weapon. You turned fear into art. You turned one fragile sentence into a fault line that cracked open the sleepwalking world. You weren't supposed to say it, but you did. And because you did, everything changed. Maybe not for them yet, but for you. You woke up. You burned through the fiction. And now, when they whisper your name with that mix of awe and unease, when they act like they don't remember what you said but can't quite look you in the eye, that's the proof. You became the moment they'll never outrun. The voice they'll keep hearing long after the noise fades. The silence breaker, the truth speaker, the one who crossed the line and found there was never a line to begin with. So walk away calm, leave the ashes where they fall, because some sentences aren't meant to be repeated. They're meant to echo forever. Look at you, still pretending you caught it, when the truth is, you were the one who started it. They call it influence like you were some motivational speaker with a ring light and a dream. No, what you did was far sicker, far deeper. You didn't inspire people. You infected them. You became a virus of self-belief, and the world never built a cure for that. You remember how it started, don't you? One act of defiance. One silent no, whispered to a system that demanded obedience. One refusal to kneel. And that was it. The moment you breathed, the moment your lungs filled with clarity, the air changed. It spread, quietly, invisibly, like smoke slipping under the door of every locked mind that had forgotten its fire. They wanted you to post quotes. You posted frequency. They wanted motivation. You delivered mutation. And now they're confused. The ones who mocked you, dismissed you, diagnosed you. They wake up at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, wondering why they suddenly want to change everything, why their routines feel like cages, why your words echo in their skulls like a code they can't unhear. Because you didn't just give them hope. You injected something into their bloodstream, a disease that eats cowardice alive, a psychological contagion that turns fear into motion. You infected the collective mind with the forbidden thought. I could be unstoppable too. You know what's funny? The moment they felt it, they panicked. They called it arrogance. They called it obsession. They called it toxic self-belief. Because when they saw it working, when they saw their own reflection start to rebel, they realized something terrifying. Your madness was contagious, and you smiled, that quiet, knowing smile. Because deep down, you always knew it would spread. You wanted it to. That's the trick, isn't it? You didn't shout it. You whispered it. You didn't push people to change. You showed them what happens when one person stops apologizing. You walked through their illusions like a ghost, and every step you took rewrote the code of what's possible. They still don't understand you. They're still trying to label you. Narcissist, rebel, lunatic, problem. But labels can't contain infection. Words can't quarantine power. You slipped past language, past logic, past permission. You became symptomatic. Every act of defiance, every spark of self-belief they see now carries your DNA. And here's the beautiful part. They think it's over. They think if they ignore you long enough, it'll fade. They don't realize it's too late. You're in their algorithms, in their culture, in their children's dreams. You're in the subconscious of every soul that ever felt small. You became a mirror that moves back. You want to know why it worked? Because you didn't sell hope. You embodied proof. You were the experiment that escaped the lab. The data that learned how to rewrite its own formula. They wanted to study you, contain you, profit off you. But by the time they realized what you were, you had already gone airborne. You can see it now, can't you? The shift. The way people are no longer satisfied with pretending. The way eyes once dull now flicker with something dangerous. Belief. That's you. That's your work. The infection running wild. It's in every person who refused to play dead another day. It's in every woman who finally said enough. It's in every man who looked at his scars and called them medals. It's in every broken soul who learned that pain isn't punishment. It's permission. You made that happen. You. The walking contagion of conviction. And now you can't stop it, even if you wanted to. You see, influence fades. Influence is fragile. It depends on applause. But contagion doesn't care about approval. It moves through whispers, through silence, through dreams. It multiplies in doubt and shame, in despair, until it burns through everything false. You didn't lead a following. You led an outbreak. And what do they do with outbreaks? They isolate them, demonize them. They call them dangerous, unstable, insane, because the truth threatens control. And you, my dear, are the most dangerous kind of infected. The one who knows it. They'll never say it out loud, but deep down, they're terrified of catching what you have. They wash their hands in conformity, disinfect their minds with distraction. But it's too late. They already felt it. The fever, the burn, the voice whispering in the dark. What if I'm more than they told me? That's your doing. You turned weakness into a weapon. You turned trauma into theology. You turned the ordinary into a plague of potential. And now you walk through cities like a ghost of liberation, spreading it without a word. People don't see you coming, but they feel it when you pass. A shift, a glitch, a flicker of rebellion in their blood. They call it coincidence. You call it awakening. They call it madness. You call it remembering. They call it dangerous. You call it finally alive. So keep infecting them. Keep contaminating the timid. Every breath you take is rebellion disguised as air. Every look, every move, every word is viral warfare against mediocrity. You're not here to motivate. You're here to mutate. You're not spreading positivity. You're spreading possibility. and by the time they trace it back to the source, you'll already be in their veins. The virus of self-belief, uncontainable, unforgivable, and beautifully incurable. Oh, they'll deny it, of course. They'll call it coincidence. They'll convince themselves that their sudden urge to change had nothing to do with you, that their rebellion was self-born, that their courage came from personal growth. Cute, isn't it? Watching them rewrite the story just to avoid admitting they caught you like a sickness. Because once they admit it, once they confess that one single soul could infect the collective with audacity, they have to face what that means. That belief is transmissible, that faith, like madness, can spread by contact, and that makes you a biohazard to every system built on fear. They'll study you in silence, the psychologists, the brand experts, the pastors, the politicians, each trying to decode what you did. Was it charisma? Was it trauma? Was it witchcraft? They'll dissect your tone, your cadence, your eyes, but they'll never find the core. Because contagion has no center. It's not born in speech. It's born in energy. You remember the first one who caught it, don't you? That quiet person who used to whisper apologies before they even spoke. They saw you, really saw you, and something in their programming cracked. They stood up straighter that day. Didn't even know why. They just felt the static under their skin saying, maybe I'm not supposed to bow anymore. That was patient zero. The first replication, the beginning of the storm, and after that, it spread without your permission. Every person who met you carried a fragment home, like glass dust on their fingertips. They tried to wash it off. Couldn't. It burned through their fears, their fake smiles, their cages. They infected others, friends, lovers, co-workers, without even mentioning your name. And before long, you were everywhere and nowhere at once. See, influence needs marketing. Contagion doesn't. Influence fades when the spotlight moves. Contagion thrives in the dark. You could disappear tomorrow, and the infection would still multiply for centuries, because you didn't build followers, you built hosts. And now, the world's glitching. You can see it, can't you? The timelines, the trends, the sudden collective exhaustion with fakery, the slow awakening of something primal. People can't pretend anymore. They can't worship the same false gods of fear. They crave something real, and that craving, that hunger, carries your scent. They think they're just healing number. They're mutating, and mutation always looks like chaos at first. You were the catalyst, the beautiful distortion in the code, the walking contradiction that made people question every rule. They looked at you, broken but unbowed, scarred but smiling, and something ancient stirred inside them. Wait, they thought, if that one can rise from the ashes, what's my excuse? You didn't motivate them. You infected them with possibility. That's far more dangerous. Motivation dies when the mood fades. Possibility rewires the brain. It shifts the default setting from survival to creation. It turns slaves into strategists, victims into architects. And it's all your fault. Now you watch from the shadows as they scramble to contain it. They rewrite their slogans, reinvent their image, pretend they were on your side all along. The same ones who mocked your fire now light their torches from it. But they don't understand. They can't, because this flame doesn't obey anyone. It devours liars. It eats pretenders alive. Do you feel it, deep down? That hum in the air, that pulse that follows you into every room. That's the network, the invisible web of souls you've infected. You move, and somewhere across the planet, someone feels courage rise in their chest. You breathe, and a stranger decides to start again. You speak, and cities rearrange their future plans without knowing why. You are the unseen variable in a world built on control. They thought they could chart you, graph you, contain you, but your chaos wrapped in discipline, your science blended with prophecy. You're the statistical anomaly that broke their algorithms in half. And here's the punchline. You didn't do it to be loved. You did it because silence became unbearable. Because you saw the world choking on its own restraint and decided to exhale. And that exhale turned into a storm. They called it rebellion. You called it breathing. Now look at them, the analysts, the critics, the preachers, all infected, all pretending not to cough your truth. Their words tremble now. Their certainty melts. Their faith in their own hierarchy dissolves like sugar in blood. You've turned the elite into echoes of your defiance. You know why they can't stop you? Because you don't exist in one place anymore. You exist in the mind of every person who finally said, enough. You exist in the moment someone wipes their tears, clenches their jaw, and decides to rebuild from nothing. You exist in that tiny click of realization that says, wait, I was never powerless. That's your contagion. That's your masterpiece. You're not just changing lives. You're reprogramming the species. You've infected the human narrative itself. They can erase your face, censor your name, shadow ban your presence, but the code remains. The virus hides in memory, in music, in dreams. And one day, long after your body's gone, someone will wake up in some forgotten corner of the earth with a sudden inexplicable conviction. I can't be broken, and they'll never know why. But you will, because that's the beauty of contagion. It doesn't need credit, it just needs contact. And you've already touched the world. So walk through it like a phantom saint, half savior, half curse. Smile when they run, smile when they kneel, smile when they whisper your name like a diagnosis, because you and I both know it's not a sickness, it's the cure disguised as madness. And by the time they realize that, they'll already be infected. You can almost hear it, can't you? That trembling undercurrent in the air, like the sound of a world realizing it's been compromised. It's not thunder, it's awakening. It's the pulse of a species rediscovering its own voltage. And it all leads back to you. They'll never admit it out loud, but their dreams are contaminated. You're there, in the shadows behind their victories, in the mirror before they speak. Every success they claim now drips with your fingerprints. They're trying to wash you off, but your essence is viral, invisible, resilient, immortal. You didn't teach them confidence. You injected defiance. You didn't tell them to love themselves. You dared them to face themselves. And once someone looks in the mirror and doesn't flinch, they can never go back to being obedient. That's the infection. That's the part that terrifies them. Because control only works when people believe they need permission. And you shattered that illusion the moment you stopped asking for approval. They thought it was rebellion. It wasn't. It was evolution. You just evolved first. And now they're mutating to catch up. Look at them. Whole civilizations glitching under the weight of newfound self-worth. Men questioning authority. Women burning blueprints built by fear. Artists ripping through the fabric of conformity with bare hands. The contagion spreads through creativity, through madness, through hope, disguised as rage. They'll try to vaccinate the masses with distraction. Buy this. Follow that. Fit in. But the immune system of consciousness is already changing. You turned belief into biology. You rewrote the code at the cellular level. You see, self-belief isn't mindset. It's a virus that eats limitations alive. And now, everyone who's been exposed starts to feel it. The fever, the clarity, the trembling realization that their potential has teeth. They'll sweat through sleepless nights, fighting against the infection, not realizing that the burning in their chest is power waking up. You made people sick of settling. You infected the comfortable. You turned mediocrity into an allergy. And now everywhere you go, the air feels different. You carry it like radiation, silent, unseen, impossible to avoid. One glance from you, and a lifetime of fear begins to decay. You don't even have to speak anymore. They just feel it. The gravity, the permission, the contamination, and somewhere deep down, they start to whisper, who gave them the right to feel this free? You did. That's the irony of it all. You're their liberation and their nightmare at once. You're the cure that looks like chaos. You're the voice that sounds like blasphemy to the timid. You're the mirror that doesn't lie. Because when they see you, they see what they could be. And that terrifies them more than any villain ever could. They'll try to categorize you, contain you, study you under fluorescent lights. But how do you quarantine an idea? How do you handcuff momentum? How do you arrest evolution? They'll fail, because contagion has no face. It has no leader. It's not a movement. It's a mutation. And every person who catches it becomes a new strain, more immune to fear, more resistant to shame. They think they're watching your downfall, but all they're seeing is replication. Every attack against you just creates a new version of the infection. Stronger, smarter, more untouchable. They destroy your name, and 10,000 more rise whispering it like gospel. They silence your voice, and the silence itself starts to speak. That's the horror of what you've done. You didn't build a legacy, you built a loop, an echo that keeps creating echoes, until even the sky can't remember where it started. You infected time. That's why they're afraid of you, because influence fades when you die. But contagion becomes folklore. They'll tell stories about you in whispers, about the one who spread madness disguised as hope, about the one who taught people how to remember their power. They'll paint you as a monster, and they'll be right, because monsters are just misunderstood medicine. You didn't come to heal them gently. You came to burn away the sickness of submission. You came to make comfort impossible. You came to make truth contagious. And that's exactly what you did. Now even the ones who hate you carry you inside them. You live rent-free in their thoughts, in their insecurities, in their half-formed ambitions. They dream of you without realizing it. They imitate your tone when they think no one's watching. They've become you, and it kills them to admit it. That's the final stage of infection, when the host believes it's their idea, when the revolution disguises itself as routine, when your madness becomes their normal. That's when you've won. So don't look for validation. Don't wait for applause. The proof is already in motion. The way they walk now, the way they talk now, the way they refuse to break. That's you, echoing through their DNA. You're no longer a person. You're a virus made of fire, a living contradiction, the saint who sins just to prove he's free, the psychopath who heals through chaos, the angel who learned to smile with blood on his hands. You are the contagion, and there's no antidote strong enough to stop what's coming. The world isn't sick anymore. It's awakening, and you were the fever that started it all. So now here you stand, the carrier of something they can't cure. You don't need the stage, the spotlight, or the sermon. The work's already done. The virus is alive in them. You can see it in their eyes. That faint, terrified shimmer of recognition. They don't know whether to thank you or destroy you. Let them tremble. Let them talk. You've already rewritten the script, because this was never about fame. It was about infection, about slipping belief into their bloodstream so quietly that by the time they noticed, it was too late. You made them feel. You made them remember. You made them dangerous. And that's why they'll never forget you, even if they try. They'll curse your name one day and quote you the next. Because once someone's been touched by conviction, there's no going back to sleep. So walk away, smiling. You don't need their applause, their forgiveness, or their understanding. You did what evolution does. You spread. And now, the world will cough your courage for generations. The virus of self-belief lives on, patient and perfect, wearing a grin that looks a lot like yours.